The trade deadline is looming. There is a fraud alert from a texter on the Subaru of New England text line for Wiggy. I'll read it verbatim. 978 texter says, Wiggy wanted to ship Zdeno Chara up out of here, but he doesn't want to move Brad Marchand. Fraudulent.
They did want to move him.
I don't know where they got that from. I was going to ship Bergeron up out of here. You don't
and
think
pasta.
And pasta.
Yeah.
So I'm all for if you can get something for, like, when you look at this team realistically, in your opinion, other than Swayman, is there anybody untouchable?
Well, the argument has been that it's
goalie Bob.
Besides goalie Bob.
The argument has been that David Pastrnak was untouchable.
But would you move him if you could get a haul for him?
Do you have to be in a full giant rebuild at this point, do you believe? Or can you deal a piece or two and somehow cobble it together and improve?
Well, I think everybody believes you're in a kind of more of a rebuild.
Well,
right.
Cam Neely called it a retool.
Or a retool. So, in the retool sense, could you move a guy like Pasta that would bring you back maybe another talented player that's not or maybe is not performing at the level or is performing but maybe wants to change the scenery?
I think Bruins fans have been reluctant to move on from David Pastrnak. They certainly have an issue with his performance in the playoffs.
Right.
Which they whine about.
Right.
But if you're a Bruins fan, tell me right now, are you okay? Because that's where you're going to get the most value.
Right.
And you're going to say goodbye to a true goal scorer and a guy who is at the at the top of the NHL potential wise when it comes to that.
Right.
So you better be getting a significant haul for that, but that's really where the most value is. Yes, Shime. Well,
no, I'm just looking at the contract. I don't know
if
they
can move him
it
without his permission.
So
what?
I think he doesn't have a no trade until year 6, and it's like an 8-team approved list. Year 7 is a 10-team approved list, and year 8 is a full or a 10-team no trade. So I think he has a full no trade up until year 6. So I don't even think you can move him.
All right.
Wiggy 774 texter says Swayman is the first move they would make. Like they want to say goodbye to Jeremy Swayman.
What's more important, Pasta or Swayman in the postseason?
You have to get to the postseason.
Yeah.
Right. But,
and as long as Swayman is the same Swayman we've seen in the past,
but
we haven't.
Has Jeremy Swayman been what you thought he would be this
No.
season?
No, he hasn't. No, he hasn't. But he's been pretty good and I know it's a short sample size in the playoffs. We've seen a larger sample size of Pasta. So if you're asking me where are the Bruins going and what are they doing, all right, are you saying then there's two guys that are untouchable? Is it Pasta and Swayman?
I think it has to be. I don't think I think both of them have no trade clauses. I think you physically can't move them regardless.
Okay, so if they both have no trade clauses, then I guess we're just speaking on hypotheticals.
When it comes to Geeky and the way he's playing, how much credit do you give David Pastrnak for that?
A decent amount. Like I think Geeky deserves some, but Pasta.
You run the risk of losing that.
Yeah.
If you say goodbye to him.
Like, to me, the guys that you would be targeting to move right now would be a guy like Brad Marchand, Charlie Coyle. I think you could flip Morgan Geeky for something.
I don't know that you can move Charlie Coyle. Doesn't he have a team restriction or something?
Yeah, I think it's like a limited no trade, but I'm pretty sure it's the final year of his deal. So there's I think it's either 10 or 12 teams that you can probably trade him to.
Because we always have this conversation, whether we did it last year with Jason Tatum or we did it with Jaylen Brown, and you start to say, okay, Pasta's an unbelievable player. He's unbelievably talented, but has he lived up to your expectations as a Bruins fan in the postseason?
No.
So do you get to the point and go, all right, he hasn't been able to live up to it. Is there a way that we can get a massive haul and then you're starting with a new guy because you're going to get a haul back from him that might be able to live up to the expectations of what a superstar should be?
Yeah, you might think he is disappointed in the playoffs, but like 40 goal scorers don't just grow on trees.
No, I know
this is
that.
not a guy you can. Like, to me, it's Pastrnak and Swayman are the untouchables, and McAvoy you would have to get an absolute massive haul for if you're trading him. Like, those to me are the three guys that you have to keep and at this point build around. I mean, Pasternak's only 28,
Right.
Swayman's pretty young, McAvoy's really young. Like, that's, to me, that's the core you have to build around going forward.
Well, and that's why I'm saying that you have to make the decision that it's a legit full rebuild if you're going to part with guys on the only line that you, production-wise, that is doing anything.
Yeah, and exactly. And I don't think they will. Like, I think if they trade any of those guys, it would be Geeky. Like, Pasta and Zacha, to me, are probably staying because Pastrnak really likes Zacha. But Geeky, you might be able to flip for something to a playoff team because he's cheap and he's playing really well.
I would just say if Jacobs, whoever, chairman or the son, don't sell, it is strictly to pad their wallets and not to improve the team. Because we all agree, even if they get in the back door as the 8 seed, they're not getting past round 1.
No.
So you're doing all of this for 2 home gates, which is incredibly short-sighted. And that was always the gripe with the Bruins when I was a kid, that they would do enough to get to the playoffs, get a couple more days of people parking and go to the concessions and sitting in those seats, but it was never championship-driven. If you get an offer for Marchand that will benefit you in the future, you are absolutely doing the wrong thing if you don't make the deal.
Right, but Marchand's not going to be a rebuild asset that you have that's going to get you but he's going to bring you something back. If you're really rebuilding and you're looking at, all right, and I understand, but the question becomes the Swaymans, the McAvoys, the Pasta, those guys are going to bring you back hauls where you now start to say, okay, we're rebuilding and we're going in a different direction.
Yeah, I think they're afraid to tell their fans that they're going to rebuild. That's why Cam calls it a retool. Like, I think teams are always afraid to, like the Patriots were afraid to say that.
Yeah.
Right, but
But
then
you haven't had to rebuild in 20 years. It's okay. Like, that happens. You can't just expect to have sustained success for 40 years.
Have you talked to anybody who is anybody who's lived here their entire life? They don't expect that.
But remember,
It's not okay with them.
but
Yeah,
remember,
well, they that's the reality of it. Like, ask every other franchise on the planet.
right, and we don't hold the Bruins franchise to a higher standard when it comes to, as Bruins fans, we can be more content with, all right, they made the playoffs. Right? Run it back next year.
Yeah, I don't think people were content, though, when you have the best regular season record ever.
But do you think they get criticized?
And you get bounced.
Do you think they get criticized as much as the Patriots or the Red Sox or even the Celtics?
Not the
when
Red
they-
Sox, but the Patriots, it's starting to get to that level, I think, when it comes to the Bruins. The Red Sox get criticized harder than everybody else, and we know the reasons behind that. But I think that the Bruins in the past got a pass from fans. This past season, I feel like we are at the same level, or
No.
approaching the same level as the Crafts and
Listen,
the Patriots.
Courtney, I love you to death, sis, but you're out of your mind on this one. You look at since 2018, the last time the Patriots have won a Super Bowl,
Yeah.
the criticism of this organization, whether it was Belichick, whether it was Kraft, anything, rightfully so, because they haven't been able to win, where when you look at the Bruins and you look at the fan criticism, frustration, it's there, but it is nowhere near the level of the other 3 teams when they don't do well, especially in the postseason. It is not even close.
This is Hunter from New Hampshire. Hey, Hunter.
Hey, how's it going?
What's up?
I just want to comment on the Pasta trade talk, and I agree with Shime here. First off, Wiggy, you keep bringing up Pasta for a trade. You can't name a single person who you would want in return for Pasta. He is one of the best goal scorers in the NHL. So Shime is right. It's Pasta, Swayman, McAvoy. That is your top 3. That is who you build around on this team. Everyone else can be replaced, including Marchand, who was my favorite. But the point is, you're not going to get anything good enough in return from a guy like Pasta to make yourself better. You have nothing in the AHL to bring up. There's not really enough draft picks to be building on this, so we have to keep your 3 best players you have, and that's your core to be able to move on.
No.
Without Pasta, your offense is going to dwindle even worse. I know it looks bad as it is, but he's the only thing there that gives it a spark at all.
But you don't think you'd get a good...
It was the absolute right thing to do, but they screwed themselves a little bit by going all in and adding when they added because they thought they were going to win the cup.
Yeah,
And
but I'll never get on a
but
team for doing that.
What's that? No, I won't either. Like it was the right thing to do. What, Hunter?
If you think about it, like we got Pasta at a pretty decent bargain because the cap just keeps going up and up. And if you look around at teams like Edmonton, it's McDavid and Draisaitl. Boom, there's their core. You have like other teams like the Wild who have Kaprizov. Like you don't move on from a guy like Kaprizov. That's who they're building around. So if you get rid of Pasta, then you're back to nothing. Like who we have Matty Pastrnak for our future.
Yeah.
And like Pasta's still young, and it's like you got to get the right piece with him.
Yep.
And if I had obviously like my dream scenario to add a piece on this team, which is a dream because it's never likely to happen, would be Willie Nylander, because Nylander and Pasta were like very good friends through juniors, and they still are very good buddies. I think if those two were on the same team together, it would be a tier down from like McDavid and Draisaitl. But you're looking at something like that with their chemistry.
Yeah.
And another thing with this Bruins team, everyone likes to freak out about it. I get it. It's a really bad season. Swayman's not playing great. Lindholm's not playing great. But hockey has so much chemistry that required to be able to be good. I think we're being too premature with this season. We need to relax a little bit. They're still, I know they're not really a contender, but they kind of are in, the playoff push. So them playing so poorly, we judge them every day with how bad they play, but yet they're still able to make the playoffs. If we just be patient with what we have, we don't even have a real coach right now. He's still an interim coach. We need to get that real coach and then make the right pieces. I think it's just a lot of nickel and diamond with these little guys like Geeky and Brazo and all those kind of players that need to be switched in and out. But a guy like Pasta, it's just kind of stupid to me to be able to move on from a guy like him.
Making the playoffs is no longer good enough for me.
Well, for you though, but I don't think it's the same way for everybody else. And he brings up some really good players in Draisaitl and McDavid. Maybe there is some, fire to Keith's report where does Pasta need to be on a line with somebody that can really take him to that next level or, elevate his ability to continue to be that goal scorer, but also elevate him in the playoffs? Because I'm not saying you're getting rid of Pasta and you're not getting like another elite player in return. I'm just saying he or McAvoy or Swayman, those are the guys that are going to get you the elite players and another goal scorer who might be looking for a change of scenery.
Okay. This is Sean from the soon-to-be 51st state of Canada. Hello, Sean.
Hello.
What's up?
Can't wait to be part of the state. Abolish income.
What would be the biggest benefit if you were part of America?
If Trump abolishes the income tax, for sure.
Oh, okay, all right.
Yeah, that would be a cool one.
What about the free health care, though?
Yeah.
Doesn't Canada get, everybody gets free?
We got to keep the free health care. Now, don't get me wrong. It's not good health care.
Yeah.
But it's free.
That's true.
I mean,
right.
no,
So we got to keep it a little.
no offense to Tim Hortons, but we got a better. We have Duncan here, so that's a benefit.
I can't wait to try it. I'm not allowed in the States at the moment, but we're getting there.
Okay, what's up?
Okay, I'm a Leafs fan and a Patriots fan, okay?
Sorry.
So I watch the show every day. I'm a diehard Leafs fan, so I'm sitting there with an idea.
Yeah.
What about Marner for Pastrnak? Flip.
I think that the idea is if it's a rebuild, I don't know that you want to just go one for one on it.
No, it's not. The Leafs would have to add due to Pasternak's good deal.
Right.
Because you're going to have to sign Marner, so we would have to add probably a Matthew Nyes.
Yeah, I don't know. Is there a reluctance? Is there a reluctance on the Bruins' part to do anything with the Maple Leafs, or that doesn't matter?
Probably.
Yes.
Probably.
Yeah.
I'm just sitting here.
Well, that's the question.
Throwing ideas against the wall.
That's the question that I'm asking, and like, you know, somebody who's more in depth into the hockey world than I am, is there a way where you could be like, all right, you're moving Pasta. I know he brought up the Mariner guy from Toronto, but like you're moving Pasta for somebody of that caliber, like an Austin Matthews, that might be. You could say, okay, we'll give you Pasta plus this, and you know, or we'll give you Matthews and a few things more, and you give us Pasta and, you know, X, Y, and Z is what I'm saying. Yeah. Are there opportunities out there where you're kind of changing who your new superstar or your new like elite goal scorer is?
Yeah.
Right? Are there opportunities out there like that Bruins fans would say, all right, I would entertain that?
Yeah. Well, it will get interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Bruins lose again. If they could just avoid the third period, as I said earlier, everything would be fine. But you can talk about that all day long here on Boston Sports Original WEEI.